A massive apology to you guys for the lack of content over the course of this week. I've had a few issues, it's safe to say, including this video itself. Unfortunately, in this one, the camera and the replay cameras decided to completely not record. I've got no idea where they've disappeared to on my computer. But yeah, I had a few more issues with my new PC this week. Obviously, we're still using my old computer at the moment as we're trying to get the new one set up, hence why there hasn't been much content, as well as the fact I've just been really busy with general stuff as well. But a massive thank you for all the continued support on the channel at the moment. You know, we're really trying to get ready for F1 2021 at the moment as I try and work on some things behind the scenes. So thank you guys for sticking by me. And yeah, hopefully, of course, we'll try and get back into some more consistent content over the coming couple of weeks or so. Hopefully you guys still enjoy this video despite it being a little bit bare bones. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 8 of the F1 2020. The F1 2021 even, I should say, Alpine mod career mode. Yesterday we're here back, ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Like I said, round 8 of the year. If you missed out on the last race from the British Grand Prix, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. But the championship fight really starting to heat up now at this stage of the year there. Verstappen's still on top by 4 points. Just 16 separate your big three at the front of your field there. 9 points separate myself and the two Ferrari cars with Perez, Vettel and Alonso all right there ready to pounce as well. But as we head to Hungary though, not my favourite track in the world, not the car's best track as well. We might be in for a difficult one this weekend. Let's dive into it. Well, here we are then, ready for round 8 of the year from the Hungarian Grand Prix. Like I said, not my favourite track in the world, but we'll wait and see as to what does happen this weekend. Of course, making all the normal setup tweaks. As always, let's head out to the track. Let's head out then onto the track ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And if ever qualifying was important, this track right up there with Monaco for it as we head back down in towards turn 1. Yeah, we'll wait and see as to how this lap goes. If you remember all the way back to Monaco, wasn't our best qualifying session in the world, so fingers crossed today can be a bit of a better story. Last time out at Silverstone we didn't have a particularly great lap either, but let's just see if we can get it hooked up in the Alpine this weekend. It feels rather pointy, obviously running a lot of aero, so this thing really does go where you want it to. Oh, look at that. That was ridiculous on turning. That caught me by surprise. I had to sort of second guess myself through there. That was a bit weird. Anyways, we head up the hill in towards the tight, twisty, technical middle section there, kicking the back end out. So you try and head down in towards the S's here. This thing feels so pointy. There's like no understeer at all. It's really weird at the moment. We just kind of got to like steer out of the corner almost. It's that good on turning for whatever reason. But heading down in towards the final few corners of the lap though. So far it's been a pretty scrappy lap, but the car just feels wonderful. Not too sure how we'll manage it in all honesty. Haven't changed any settings or anything like that. Haven't made a drastically different setup either through the final corner. Up towards the line. It's going to be P5 for the Hungarian Grand Prix there. That came out of nowhere. Genuinely, I've got no idea what that was about. Well, there we go then. The grid is set for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And look at that Bottas. We were only a 10th off the Mercedes, man. Didn't have the best lap in the world. Of course, Hamilton, the king of Hungary, claiming yet another pole position around this circuit there. But Charles Leclerc up in P4. Obviously just ahead of myself there. We get ahead of Perez again, as well as Sebastian Vettel there. Alonso up in 8th place. I'm sure Carlos Sainz a bit disappointed down in 9th. Maybe Ricciardo can get some more points for McLaren as well in 10th place there. And then, of course, you've got your rest of your order. Let's dive in then here, ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So here we are then, ready for round 8 of the year from the Hungaroring. Yeah, can't believe we're already right into the deep end of the European phase of the World Championship here. Round 8 though, from Budapest, like we said, not my favourite track in the world. We'll wait and see as to how the car goes around this track. Felt very good in qualifying though. Yeah, I can't believe just how nice this thing was to drive around this circuit over 1 lap pace. But generally, if the pace is good over 1 lap, sometimes you find on F1 2020 that the tyres start to struggle towards the end of the stint, so we'll wait and see as to how things go today. 14 corners around this 2.7 mile circuit, obviously still one of the shortest on the F1 calendar as well. I think the second shortest track I want to say on the F1 calendar. It's got to be very close between the likes of this place and like Mexico, Brazil and Canada as well, of course. But obviously a track that Mercedes have always gone well at. It's Hamilton's hunting ground as well. So many wins around the Hungaroring over recent years in the world of Formula 1. He has really made this place home in this series as well. So obviously we'll wait and see whether he can try and take another race victory today from the Hungaroring in 2021. But hopefully we can have a good race out ahead of us as well. Obviously a bit of a mixed up grid as well. A couple of good surprises, a couple of bad surprises today. You can see on the front row, of course, Hamilton and Max Verstappen there, 1 and 2, as so often we've seen early on this championship. Bottas P3 ahead of Charles Leclerc in another brilliant 4th placer ahead of myself, Esteban Ocon. Sergio Perez down in 6th ahead of Vettel and Fernando Alonso there. 9th and 10th is consistent of Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo. And then, of course, further down the order, just outside the top 10, you've got Stroll, Lando Norris, Gasly, Tsunoda, George Russell, Kimi Raikkonen, and then towards the rear of your field, you've got Mazepin, Schumacher, and then, of course, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi rounding out your grid, ready for this race. Going to be an interesting one today. We'll wait and see how we fare. Let's just dive in then here, ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Right, well, here we are then, ready for round 8 of the year. Qualifying a whole lot better than we expected it to be around this circuit, but the race, actually, weather's looking quite good. It's meant to start out overcast and get a whole lot better as the race goes on here today. Of course, not a track where overtaking's easy, so we need to try and get a nice, clean start down in towards turn 1, and hopefully, you know, if we can make up places there, that'll be really, really good, because I don't see us getting many opportunities over the course of the Grand Prix. Then, ready on the grid, round 8 of the year, here from the Hungaroring. It's 5 red lights. And it is a very long hold, an incredibly long hold, but it is lights out, and away we go. Off to a pretty decent start as we head down in towards turn 1 for the first time in this race. There's Charles Leclerc, Verstappen, both just covering across from me there. Verstappen actually having a look from Hamilton in towards turn 1 there. We haven't gained anything, but we haven't lost anything as we head out of the first couple of turns there. Perez still trying to apply the pressure as Hamilton and Verstappen still side by side at the front of your field there. I think Alonso's trying to make a move on Vettel just behind us. And look at that, Verstappen might just muscle his way into the lead. They're still side by side as they head up in towards turn 4 there. But Verstappen round the outside through turn 4, doing what Hamilton couldn't. I think it was back in 2019, the other way around there. And that is very much a power play from Max Verstappen at the start of this Hungarian Grand Prix there. Whether Hamilton will have the pace in that Mercedes to challenge him over the course of the race, we'll wait and see. Jeff just saying that our start wasn't great but wasn't terrible. I'll be honest, if we can hold on to P5 here, I'll probably be very, very happy. Do want to be, you know, still trying to outscore Charles Leclerc where we can, so that's a little bit wide out in towards sector 3. But yeah, that Ferrari looks incredibly quick most weekends now. So if we can obviously get any opportunities to outscore Charles, we're always going to take them, but we just might not get many, especially in the second half of the year. So we head to a few more power tracks in the near future. Round in the final corner. Let's see if we can get a good run on Charles there. Max Verstappen at 21.9. We set a 24.7 at the end of that lap. We are gaining on Charles ever so slightly. Oh, he brakes a lot earlier than I was expecting. Up the inside we go accidentally. And we will now move up into P4, will we? It's going to be a drag race out of turn 1. Down towards turn 2. Side by side with Charles Leclerc. It's going to be a little bit later on the brakes this time. We get all squeezed out over the curbs there, and we're still side by side as we head down the hill. Charles gets a little bit loose on the inside, and we do now move up into P4 of the Hungarian Grand Prix there. Best of the rest early on, taking a lot of curb through turn 4, but that was a critical move. There you go, Max Verstappen sets a 17.7 at the end of lap 2 there, and I know I've said it before, but it is always so weird going back to a career mode where we just don't have at least a car that can battle for race victories week in, week out. Just watching the Mercedes and the Red Bull pull away from us. And I think, yeah, we're going to be focusing on our mirrors a lot during this Grand Prix. But we had a good little start. Let's get our head down and focus on hitting some good laps. Well, Charles Leclerc is certainly not making it easy for us in this Grand Prix early on. Just under a lot of pressure as we're trying to keep the tyres in good nick. I've still never known a car so pointy through the corners, though. It's genuinely incredible to drive this Alpine around here at the moment. They're a 19.3. Pace is definitely starting to fall off just a little bit. This Charles Leclerc, though, just doesn't seem to have the top end speed down the straights to get close enough. But yeah, this thing is genuinely on rails. And a lap 6, the team do want us in at the end of this one, but we'll wait and see as to how the car feels there. It still feels pretty pointy at the moment. The only problem is, of course, is when the team want Alonso in as well. Oh, Charles just behind us. I saw him getting very, very fishtaily out of turn 1. That might just give us the gap in the DRS, which is what we need. That was a little bit loose over the curbs, though. Both of us starting to make a few small mistakes. We might pit the end of this lap. I might try and take it to the end of lap 8. Just a bit worried about, obviously, slower traffic being in the way.
No need to worry about tyre conditions.
Whoa.
Everything's looking good.
That might be cause to pit. Just completely stepped round on us. As where are we going to rejoin in this race? Very, very weird, but I haven't had much like that before on F1 2020. What has happened to the back end? Thanks, Yuki. Thanks, George. A 5-second penalty. What were we meant to do there? We got a safety car deployed in the Grand Prix. I've got no idea what that's all about, but we're definitely going to have to pick the end of this one now. Back end's just, from feeling so sharp early on, it's all suddenly got a bit pear-shaped again, just like we saw at Silverstone last time. Luckily the safety car's going to be a bit of a blessing for us. Russell's picked up a 5-second penalty as well. Alonso's dived into the pits, but we're going to have to as well. Looks like everyone's in the pits as we round the final couple of corners. Yeah, I would have thought pretty much everyone. It just doesn't make sense not to at this stage of the Grand Prix. Always forget where the markers are. There, in a word. But yeah, we are going to be able to serve the penalty under safety car. I mean, I'm not complaining. It works out for us beautifully. It also gives them a good chance to get the front wing set up, so really it probably hasn't cost us much time at all. Or apparently it still does. They was stood there for a good 9-10 seconds before they decided to do anything this time round. A 16.3 second stop is not exactly what I wanted in this Grand Prix. We're only going to come out of Giovinazzi and Latifi here. We've got a long way to go though. We've got a very quick car. Let's try and get our head down. Right, we're getting ready to go green then, here from the Hungaroring. Let's see if after the restart we can have a bit more luck and try and climb our way back into the points in this Grand Prix. We cannot afford to have another non-point scoring finish. We want to stand any chance of battling the Ferraris there, but Charles Leclerc has been gifted P4 in this Grand Prix and is going to be safe in the championship, I would have thought. Oh, Russell, what's that about, buddy? Very, very early on the brakes through the final corner. We'll try and use some overtake mode as we head out of the final turn. The Williams, not a particularly good car down the straight, and of course we're going to have to be brave. We're going to have to be aggressive off the restart. There we go, straight up the inside of George Russell, and we will have that. Thank you very much. Bit of understeer on the exit, so maybe it was just the soft tyres that were graining wonderfully for us. But we're up one spot. Next up, Mick Schumacher. I think really the best opportunity we're going to have to get past people is probably down in towards turn 1. But again, if we can get a big run like that and not have to bail out on the throttle, we might be able to have a look up the inside in towards sector 3. Just trying to push Schumacher through the final couple of corners. See what the grip's like, because all the Haas incredibly slow through the penultimate corner there. We will get right around the outside. And we are now up into P16 of the Grand Prix, so clearly you can make overtakes around other places on this circuit. I think that says a lot more about the Haas lack of speed rather than our good speed this weekend as we close in on Tsunoda. Back down towards turn 1. The Japanese driver a bit early on the brakes, but I don't think anywhere to go. Oh, Tsunoda, saying that, does get a bit fishtaily out of turn 1 there. We're going to have a look to the outside as we head back down the hill. Much, much later on the brakes, but a big lock-up for ourselves. Can we get it slowed down? Yes, we can. We find the grip round the outside. And we're making moves back up into P15 of the Grand Prix. Points aren't too far away. Right, end of lap 10. All over the back now of Kimi Räikkönen as we try to put the power down out of the final corner. Short shifting just a little bit is Kimi. He's a wily old fox in the world of Formula 1. He won't just give us the inside line. Like putting up a fight. However, he will be a little bit earlier on the brakes than that Alfa Romeo. Clean around the outside through turn 1. We're making moves absolutely everywhere at the moment. But we're up into 14th. Mazepin up next. A lofty height to P13. He's probably got a nosebleed in that car. Oh, Mazepin's so slow in the ass. Round the outside through turn 5. Should hopefully get a bit later on the brakes. Oh, we slammed the door on him. Rightfully so as well. See you later, mate. Crossing over 2/3 race distance here as we get towards the end of lap 12. We're now trying to battle with Lando Norris, who's had a very, very quiet start to the year with McLaren. Are we going to be able to get a run out the final corner? DRS, ERS, rich revs, everything like that. Lando again is going to force us to the inside. So we head back down in towards the first corner there, but we should be able to make the move work. Up the inside we go, nice and cool, calm and collected on the brakes. Don't let him get a run on the exit. And we're now up into P12, where we finished last weekend. But points are definitely still on the table here. I'd love to still try and get ahead of Sainz if possible. Oh, come on, Sir Lancelot. As he parks it through the final couple of corners. We got Gasly, who might be on for AlphaTauri's first points of the year, just in front, but clean around the outside. Look at that. just still finding the grip relative to all these other cars there. Around the outside of the Aston Martin we go. Stroll's not going to give up on it though. So we head back down towards turn 1. Look at that, he's got so much overspeed. In towards the first corner, but we'll go deep on the brakes, round the outside. Should be able to get the power down, and we're now up into P11 of the race. Like we said, yeah, Gasly in potentially AlphaTauri's first points-paying position of the year there. We've got yellow flags. Who's that going slowly? I think it's Lando behind. I thought it might have been one of the guys up the road there, but Lando Norris, like we said, has had a quiet start to the year, and he's certainly not going to make a positive impact this weekend. Oh, look at that from Gasly, really kicking out the back end. As we head in towards the final few corners of the lap, he's feeling the pressure. He does about keep the nose in front. As we head through the final corner, can we do what we did to Stroll? Oh, look at that Gasly on the brakes. Halfway through the final corner there for whatever reason. This time around he's going to have no DRS to defend himself with. 4 laps to go. Oh, sorry. I genuinely didn't mean to do that on Pierre Gasly. I was so focused on where we were in comparison to him, didn't realise we were pushing him up towards the wall, Schumacher style, in towards turn 1. But we are now back up into the points of the Grand Prix. We've still got yellow flags out. I'm going to guess that's for Lando Norris. Don't think we've had another retirement. Yeah, it is still the McLaren there. You can see dumped on the inside of the track. But, yeah, P10 now. Can we potentially get Sainz and then maybe our teammate Alonso before the end? I did just get a message from the team saying Carlos Sainz is starting to struggle in this Grand Prix. Not too sure what it's about, but you can see he's dropped back massively from Alonso over the last lap or so. So I think they're trying to nurse that thing home. Look at that, how slow Sainz is. Oh, big kick of oversteer from him, but he gives us the space and clean around the outside through turn 5 there. I don't think Sainz wants to put up too much of a fight for it. Up in 9th place again, and I think he'll be looking to try and hang on to points. Gasly, though, might sense an opportunity still. Heading in towards the final lap then of this Hungarian Grand Prix, and we are now all over the back of our teammate Fernando Alonso here. What a recovery drive this would be. Look at that. Oh, I say that. Alonso gets terrible traction in towards the final couple of corners, and I was going to try and hype up this move onto the final lap, but we've already done it. Out of nowhere there, straight up into P8 of the Grand Prix. Is Alonso going to be able to come back at us down towards turn 1? No, I don't think he is. So up into P8 we go then, and now the battle is with Ricciardo just in front of us there as we get a big lock-up through turn 1. Alonso did try to get back up the inside, but couldn't make anything stick here as he head back down the hill. But Ricciardo and Vettel just in front of us there. Alonso was battling with these guys, and just one small slip-up opened the door for myself on the final lap of this Grand Prix. Can we try and go for any more moves in this race? I think we've had a couple of last lap overtakes before on this circuit though, but we'll wait and see as to what can happen here, as I'm just still cautious about the tyres overheating like we saw. I can only guess that was what happened in the first stint of the Grand Prix, as that's what I mean. Just starting to get a little bit twitchy from the back end, and with the front end being so pointy, I think that's what fired us off earlier on in this Grand Prix. These tyres are shot. We need to be so careful through the final few corners of this race here as we head back down in towards Sector 3. Want to still try and go for something if we can, but it looks like it is going to be Max Verstappen who takes another win here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. A beautiful job done by him to extend the lead at the top of your championship there. But can we go for any last-ditch attempt around the outside of Ricciardo? I don't think we're going to be able to find the grip. No, unfortunately not. It's P8 here at the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It's a performance to be proud of today from our Hungarian Grand Prix winners. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day? Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and clearly Crofty does not care who Anthony Davidson thinks is driver of the day there. But it is Max Verstappen who takes the win ahead of Lewis Hamilton there. We'll have a look in a moment at your Drivers' Championship there. Bottas P3, Charles Leclerc in 4th there, Perez up to 5th. Not a brilliant result for him, but certainly better than a lot of races he's had so far this year there. Vettel, Ricciardo there, a bit of a disappointing day for Alpine. We had very good qualifying pace, but race pace, yeah, just wasn't quite the same around this circuit here. 8th and 9th, but Sainz does hold on ahead of Pierre Gasly for P10 there, so I'm sure Gasly, yeah, very, very gutted to be down in 11th place there. You can see the rest of your finishers as well, just Lando Norris not making it to the checkered flag. Championship-wise, it does mean the gap at the top 12 points. Bottas is now out of a race wins margin off Max Verstappen as well. There was Charles Leclerc now 12 points clear of myself. We're a further 8 clear of Carlos Sainz's Sergio Perez, sorry, I should say, makes some good gains on all of us there. Daniel Ricciardo does jump Lance Stroll back him into that battle for 10th place overall as well. No other movers, though, in your Drivers' Championship. Constructors-wise, of course, no movers again. Pretty much everyone seeming pretty settled at the moment. I think the only real thing that can change is, of course, the backmarker teams there if someone gets a big result out of nowhere at some point this year as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourselves subscribed. A massive thank you for 14,500 subscribers as well. We're still just smashing through the milestones at the moment. And obviously, if you are new around here, make sure you do get yourselves subscribed as well. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon. We leave one of my least favourite tracks on the calendar, I always say. We head to my favourite. Yes, we'll be back very, very, very soon, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.